follow, but I can't lose this.
Sim racers from around the globe, honoring a revolutionary era of open-wheel racing. With a beast not easily tamed, roaring around legendary circuits at breakneck speed. When engineers and drivers push boundaries, sometimes too far. When heroes muscled roaring beasts wheel to wheel around the hallowed ground. A time when the only driver aids were his 2 feet, the perfect combination of man, machine, and speed. Experience the competition and the glory of early 80s IndyCar action. The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Next Level Racing starts now. It is perhaps the most difficult triple header of the Lionheart Retro Series in 2022. It personifies the diversity required from its drivers to adapt and to win at the top level of this championship. A couple of weeks ago, we went to the Hungaroring tight, twisty, and technical road course. Then, just 7 days ago, to the fastest short track on the planet we went, Iowa delivered a thriller. Today, to the super speedways we go, to the rolling hills of Michigan we land. Welcome to the Michigan International Speedway, and welcome to the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200, presented by ButtKicker. Hello everyone, and welcome back to RaceBot TV and coverage of the 2022 Lionheart Retro Series. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. Our phone wires got crossed and DJ Clark is not alongside me today. He is in Nashville getting ready for the second running of the Music City Grand Prix. I'll be by myself for tonight, but I'm very excited, so let's dive straight into our next level racing pre-race show. 3 back-to-back races, and how difficult they are when they are so different from one another. Here at Michigan, of course, we worked our way past the halfway point of the season. Still some new tracks left on the horizon. In a couple of weeks' time, we'll go to the streets of Long Beach for what's bound to be a thriller, and then a month-long wait before our doubleheader in the Land of the Rising Sun. First to the Twin Ring Motegi Grand Prix layout, before heading over to the Oval for what has become a staple across of Lionheart competitions. Then another 3-week wait before we land up on the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. We go north of the border for ducking down into the shadow of the Gateway Arch for what will be our final short track of the season at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. Then Road America, America's National Park of Speed, the final opportunity for drivers to build to the double points final Triple Crown race of the season. All roads lead to Fontana and the Auto Club Speedway halfway through the month of December. In a championship that runs from the start of March all the way through the middle of December, it's a long road, and those who stand tall and are there to be counted at the end are those that we shall celebrate. It is Mike Rasmas who continues to enjoy a championship lead, but Michael O'Brien in the Madworks Motorsports number 45, coming off the victory at the Hungaroring, clearly full of confidence. But today is the sort of race where confidence has got to be tempered with good judgment. David Turwa drops to third, at least provisionally. Only 5-point split second and third in the championship, with Matt Taylor and Ricky Hardin, David Rodriguez starting to lose touch of the top 3 in these driver standings presented by Next Level Racing. And when you see Madworks Motorsports, 3 of them in the top 10, 3 Graphics LC Motorsports cars in the top 10 of the points as well, maybe it isn't a surprise when we look at this HyperX Team Championship to find those 2 split by just 10 points. Halfway through the season, 2 double points races done. That is crazy how far they've been pushing each other. Graphics LC 1, 2, and 3 in our season opener. Consistency for Madworks Motorsports saw them pull away, but the double points Indy race just a couple of weeks ago has brought the gap back in. Raven Lavoie Motorsports in a field of their own, with the Raven Silver and Backfire Motorsports team split by just over 50 points. Plenty of surprises, I'm sure, left to be seen in your HyperX Team Championship. But what about the new faces in this retro series? What about our rookie class of 2022? Here's the look at the ButtKicker rookie standings, where David Rodriguez almost now 200 points clear of those behind. He is slowly building up the advantage. Rodrigo Munoz jumps to second, just 7 points clear of Luis Gonzalez Nunez, who is enjoying a bumper year across of Lionheart competitions. Valiukas ran well at Iowa last time out, building his confidence on the ovals, while Jim Herrick, our first Triple Crown winner of the year, drops behind his teammate Luke Daniels, has gone from 2nd to 8th in the span of just a few rounds. We are in Season 6 of this Lionheart Retro Series as we talk you through the series details presented by Gomez Sim Industries. We're in the Lotus 79, a Grand Prix beast that we now take around the world and across of America to the finest ovals this country has to offer. They all drive custom fixed setups designed by RaceBot's own Andrew Kinsella. The only in-car adjustment
the two hands and the 2 feet of the drivers to adapt to dirty air, to adapt to the pack that builds around them. We're fighting for just over $7,000 in cash and prizes. Of course, we've seen prizes paid out for our Triple Crown events already, but our champion will walk away with the Next Level Racing GT Track cockpit, as well as a Moser Racing direct drive wheelbase and Formula rim. With our 2 Triple Crown races in the books, just one left and it will be the season finale, and you cast your mind back to the end of 2021 when it was Aaron Morgan versus Matt Taylor. With all the laps ticked off, with the checkered flag in hand at Auto Club, they were lockstep on points. To count back we went, confusing 15 or 20 minutes. Ultimately, it was Aaron Morgan crowned champion, but as he commits to just a part-time schedule for 2022, a new champion will be crowned in both your Drivers' Championship and also your Team Championship, with Avatar Auto Racing splitting up 2 of their drivers, now of course becoming part of the MadWorks Motorsport stable. Here's a look then at your Moser Racing event details as we head back to the Great Lakes State and the home of this championship's closest ever finish, and what a finish it was. But of note, pole position has never been able to work its way into victory lane. Second and third, maybe staying out of trouble a little bit better, have won a combined 3 times in the 5 races that we've had so far. Just like pole position is no direct transfer to victory lane, leading lap is no guarantee of success either. And in the 5 races that we've had, 5 different winners have played themselves into the best spot possible. Fewest cautions came in the blockbuster race in Season 3 when it was Ryan Otis who went on to win the race. Just 1 caution, a margin of victory, 2 thousandths of a second. What a finish it was, has yet to be bested. Going on 3 years later in this competition, and the average margin of victory under a 1/10 of a second. Of course, David Rodriguez, after winning at Iowa earlier in the season, came to Michigan, and in a race that saw some controversy in the opening salvos, some rather aggressive driving led to a decimated field, but Rodriguez was able once again to work his way forward using the strategy to his advantage. Has been unable to taste the delight of victory since then. Will today be the day that Rodriguez goes back to victory lane? Up above here at Michigan, what a facility it is. Of course, it's been a while since we've seen American open wheel machines come here, going now on just over 15 years. High banks, of course, and high speed. It is the type of race that, especially in stock car racing, has led to surprise winners. Attrition bound to be crucial as well. The drivers getting revved up for qualifying with a brief practice session that has just ticked below 60 seconds to go. The field a little bit smaller than how we started this season off, but as you can see by the action on track, the fact that we've just got 26 cars does not mean we're in for a electric 100 lap race. 200 miles on the dot. Let's have a quick word about your strategy thoughts going into this race. With the 100 laps on the board, fuel windows looking to be around 35 laps. It's not looking like we're in for a fuel save race if we start green. The question will be, if a caution comes, who gambles, who can come in and make it work? They are 4 wide coming off of turn 4. If this is the type of race we're in for, with cars ducking down below the apron, it's going to be the type of race where drivers hold on for dear life and hope to stay out of trouble. Getting ready for qualifying then, not far from the Canadian border as well. Michigan International Speedway has delivered racing in this Lionheart Retro Series in the past. It will do it again here today as qualifying will get underway. 5 minutes thrown up on the board. Drivers get the track to themselves and just 2 laps with the pressure on to go fast. The qualifying lap record is a 37.430. Works out at about a speed of 192.4 miles per hour. We go almost a full 5 miles an hour quicker, in race trim when the draft builds up. 197 almost on the dot in racing just a couple of years ago. Last week we saw plenty of tires having to be taken as the thermodynamic load borne through the tires on the short track of Iowa made it difficult to figure out the strategy. We are undoubtedly going to see something similar today, but exactly what's that going to be? Who has dialed in the optimal strategy when it comes to your pit road calls? Matt Taylor will work his way to the line, searching for some momentum after becoming your first repeat winner in 2022. Has dropped backwards slightly in the points. Needs to find some ground as we work into what's going to be a crucial stretch of the championship. A couple of end-of-line penalties to note as well, with Adam Frazier and Chris Fowler starting from the back. Chris Staples in the number 96 will be serving the first of a 5-race suspension starting today. Also has a 50-point penalty after his first avoidable contact while being on a significant incident per race number. The benchmarker 38.3 laid down by Tyler Groff. Chris Lanini goes 1/10 quicker as Matt Taylor cuts down below the apron to try and find a little bit more speed, as Michael O'Brien with a 37.683 roars to the top of the charts. The question always, lap 1 or lap 2, which is quicker? Jim Herrick will be 200ths back as he comes across the line to complete lap number 1. Matt Taylor will wind it up, dips below the apron, below the yellow line through the corner. Reagan jumps up front as the times come in thick and fast. Taylor will work below the apron once more with the pressure on to deliver into the grass. A 37.701. Taylor will be lucky to start inside of the top 10, although provisionally half a tenth back as it stands right now. David Sirwa has gone pole, with Luke Daniels' form continuing to improve. He goes provisionally second with just Gallers and Hearn left on track without a lap time set. 19 lap times onto the board. Danny Roberts goes up to 4th in your number 43 machine. For Alex Guyon, looking good on lap 2. The slowest of all jumps to the top 5. Nicely done with the pressure on. So 120 seconds will be left in the qualifying session. For those that have finished, they watch on as the likes of George Anzaldo come across the line to complete his final attempt. He'll jump to 14th. Munoz to 16th in the Backfire Motorsports 06. What can Richie Hearn do? Number 70. When Richie's internet is playing nice, he is capable of winning. We've seen him show speed across of all the different disciplines that we have to offer here. To line, he'll go 19th on lap 1. Plenty of time still to be found. Jump on board and look at the width of this track. It is very, very simple and a bit too easy to commit to a 4-5 wide moment. Ends in disaster, not just for you, but those around you. For Richie Hearn, 37.65, the benchmark that David Siwa has laid down. Can Hearn step up to the gauntlet? And qualifying will better his lap time, but only by 100th of a second. Stays in 19th as Ricky Hardin will be the final car to build up in qualifying. For Ricky Hardin, what a day it was just a week ago. Winning in Iowa in dramatic fashion. It had been a long time since his last victory, which came here back in Season 4. Is Ricky Hardin coming good with the pressure on? I don't think he's got time to finish the lap that he's on. With 10 seconds left in qualifying, Ricky Hardin has left it too close, has flown too close to the sun. Qualifying will draw to a close. Ricky Harding will start in 27th and last of those with lap times on the board. Well, it's time to go racing in the rolling hills of Michigan. 200 miles of action lies in stores for the drivers of the Lionheart Retro Series. Let's run you down through your ButtKicker starting grid for today's action here from the Michigan International Speedway. It will be the Canadian of David Sirwa that punches his way to pole position for the 5th time in his career. A road course ace coming into the series in 2021. The speed is clearly there on the ovals as well. Luke Daniels continues to impress. He'll be on the outside of row 1, 9,000ths off the pole, with Chris Reagan, Danny Roberts alongside on row 2. Guyon and O'Brien will share row 3, with O'Brien looking to build up to try and challenge Razmas in the championship equation. Defending race winner David Rodriguez inside of the new colors for Tyler Groff in the orange and blue for the 98. Chris Lanini and Matt Taylor complete the top 10, with those 10 drivers split by half a tenth of a second. As always, the margins in qualifying unforgiving. Jim Herrick will line up inside of row number 6 with Trevor Malone on his outside. Mike Razmas rolls 13th. Series organizer George Ansaldo to his outside. Gabe Wood in the JD Esports 04 starts 15th, with some work to do with Rodrigo Munoz next to him. Forsyth Valenzuela, row number 9. Richie Hearn and Hugo Gallas will bookend the top 20. Cody Wenzen and Ricky Harden, final cars with lap times on the board. Harden, a world of work to do, with Nunez and Fraser, Rigney and Fowler making up the 26 cars that are ready to go here in Michigan today. Slightly smaller field than we're maybe accustomed to. The biggest field that we've seen here before, 37. Just 2 cautions last year. Can we look to hit that number once more? That will be the hope for the drivers as they look to stay out of trouble, continue building championship hopes. 100 laps will be on the board as we get ready to roll off a pit lane. And as always, featured onboard cameras to walk you through. Let's start with Chris Reagan as he rolls from 3rd position, carrying your ButtKicker onboard camera. Sim racing is better with ButtKicker. Visit thebutkicker.com. For Michael O'Brien, it's 6th on the outside of row 3. He carries your Gomez Sim Industry onboard camera, makers of high-end esports equipment and controls. Visit GomezSimIndustries.com. Hugo Gallas has your Next Level Racing onboard look. Take your racing to the next level. Visit nextlevelracing.com. And your race winner just a week ago, Ricky Harding, carries the HyperX onboard camera. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. The wonders of modern technology and of sim racing, onboard looks to be had with the entire field of cars, and cameras to be placed wherever your heart would desire. If you're watching on RaceSpot TV or ESTV, get involved with the conversation by heading over to social media. You can also let us know who you're cheering from, where you're watching on from. Are you cheering David Sirois? 5th pole position in what is now 28 career starts, still yet to taste the joy of victory. Although with 15 top 5s to his name and 2nd place finish earlier this season, he is definitely one to watch for. We'll have the best view in the house as we get ready to rumble in Michigan. 26 cars qualified. Looks like Richie Hearn has some technical issues, will not be taking to the grid. But the pace car's off. We're ready to go at Michigan. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart, and this is the start of the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200, presented by ButtKicker. A nice tidy start from all involved. It's a 100-lap race. Survival, the name of the game in the opening stages. Single file, they'll rumble down into turn 3. One car looking to maybe look down low. Luke Daniels not having a great start from the outside of the front row, swarmed by those behind. He's dropped to 4th and running up high, defending down low. The pack on the outside will start to build. Sirois will lead lap 1. Reagan, Roberts, Daniels and Guyon, the rest of the top 5. Taylor and O'Brien, the teammates, 6th and 7th positions. Where exactly do these drivers want to be? Remember, with fixed setups, the car will do what the car will do. There's only so much that one can think about in terms of how you play out this race. Taylor, after struggling in qualifying, has got the charge on immediately. Around the outside, he commits to 2nd, he'll charge. Behind Matt Taylor, Luke Daniels trying to work with him to push forward. 3 wide at the line they will go. Shades of 2021, shades of the tension that resulted in several huge incidents. Lovely sight of the cars up to racing speed. Lap times out, at least for right now, in the 37.189 bracket for pole position. Taylor will look to the outside, will think about the challenge for the lead. Not going to build up enough momentum to be able to lead at the line. Behind him, does Daniels want to cut down low? He will. Daniels finds his way down to the low line. Forsyth has worked his way forward. This is all about positioning your car where it needs to be. When the momentum builds, which line do you want to commit to? They're almost too wide through the entirety of the top 15, at least for the time being. The end of a triple header of racing action for the drivers. After this, some relaxation as they mentally unwind before steeling themselves for the streets of Long Beach. What a race that will be. David Rodriguez content in that RSR by ButtKicker green and black. Number 10 to tuck back down on the inside line. 7 cars back in 14th. Now Taylor's the one that will slot down low. Maybe wary of putting a bit too much load in the tires, you wonder. In a championship this close, we think about how bonus points impact the situation as well. When we were tied on points at the end of 18 races last year, you'll forgive us for having flashbacks and wanting to make sure we stay on top of the championship equation. Forsyth will go low as well. It's now Malone that builds up the speed on the outside as Sirah goes about 2.5 lanes up from the yellow line, trying to pinch the black and pink. Number 34. I don't think that was necessarily what was intended. Gonzalez Nunez 3 wide in the middle, just inside of the top 20. They're being courteous for the time being. Turn up the engine noise of these Lotus 79s. Bias ply tires designed to go a race distance, but at these speeds with the loads that we've seen being thrown on the ovals so far through 2022, we know there is the reality that there will be calls made for tires at some point in this race. Working towards lap 8. Plenty of cars electing to hang back. Plenty of others looking to work forward early in the race. Down onto the apron for a moment. Reagan in the number 19. That was a closer moment than he would have wanted. We hang on, we go green still. But 4 cars inside of the top 6, double-digit gains. A pair of 10 pluses, a pair of 14 pluses as well. Now Anzaldo, the bit between his team. They want to make it 3 wide. Forsyth gets some clean air onto the nose of his car as he shuffles up half a groove. Anzaldo's going to get a great run out of 4. Malone, not sure if he got tied, not sure if he got loose on corner exit, lost a whole bunch of momentum. Sirah now slowly moves up high. This is a super speedwell style race in a stock car, where the lead car decides which line he wants to run. Forsyth down low has a nose in front as they bank off of turn 2. With momentum up high, Gabe Wood searches for a spot on the podium. The battle for third, 3 wide. Malone losing some ground on corner entry. The very outside will build for Wood as they power off of turn 4. Three wide for the lead. Malone pops himself up to the wall. Forsyth might try a slide job to ensure that Sirah doesn't get the ramp off of 2. These guys are fighting hard, fighting close, fighting clean for the time being. Lock on that piece of wood. Let's hope the commentator's curse does not strike. From about 2 wide through the field, we're migrating to 3 wide at the front. And then single file back in the pack. This time it's Wood on the very outside. Malone through the middle will get the momentum. What a run from the 34 car. Maybe not crucial to lead at this juncture, but Trevor Malone has hooked his machine up. 11 spots gained, Malone now leads, although Gabe Wood might have something to say about it. He continues to get the push from Reagan behind. They are 3 wide, 3 rows deep at the front of the field. Nervy moments as the pack continues to just charge its way forward. It is single file for the top 2, 3 wide for third again, stacking up behind all the cars in this leading group. 25 split by 2.3 seconds. Let's turn up the noise, let's turn up the engines, let's crank it up at Michigan. Sound of race car engines will rev up the motor of any petrol head. Lotus 79s at Michigan. It's a combination that, going now 30 years into the past, maybe its designers would be slightly concerned, but it always delivers some sort of intrigue. Today it's pack racing galore. Matt Taylor almost chopped off at the nose as he runs behind Alex Guyon. Tucked up down, very low to the yellow line. Not fighting 3 wide at the front anymore. Daniels Reagan inside of the top 5 continue to rumble forward. And Zaldo in the middle. As they try to work their way to the front, Trevor Malone still leads. What a race this is. The first half of this season saw many new tracks. Of course, we still have the Motegi Grand Prix layout. We still have the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. But including today, many of the tracks that we go to in this back half of the season are familiar. The drivers know them, drivers understand the challenges that they provide. For many of these drivers, they've led laps at the past in Michigan. It's one of those races where, like we said earlier, leading laps, pole position, no guarantee of victory. In 5 previous years, 36 individual drivers have led laps. Only 5 have waltzed their way to the HyperX victory lane. Are we thinking about 4 wide now? Down low, Chris Reagan's 19 will lead into turn 4. Fanning out on the top line. It's Malone, it's Anzaldo. Guyon loses some ground. It's one of those races for the drivers you expect the big one. It is it is seconds away at any time. Great run from the Raven Lavoie Motorsports car in the middle. Guyon has worked his way forward commandingly. Now electing not to force the issue. It's crazy at the front, but one man that is electing to let the crazies be crazy is Ricky Harding, now a double winner in your Lionheart Retro Series. It's 2 years on from his first victory in this championship here on the banks of Michigan. About a year on from his debut appearance on the road course at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. In those 43 starts, 20 top 10s, 9 top 5s, and now 2 victories. Don't count him out, stays out of trouble. It could swing the way of Ricky Harding, our Moser Racing driver profile for today's action. On to lap 19 of the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200 presented by ButtKicker. Lap times now working at the mid-37s. We're about a second slower than our record pace set back in Season 3. Of course, the cars would have undergone many a change since then. It's been a fun time model to see how the drivers adapt and figure out the nuances of how to work through the tire strategy calls. Last time we saw some 2-tire calls, just the front end of the cars going up. Some drivers choosing 4. Michigan and Iowa throw load on the tires, yes, but in very different ways. 15 laps away from the fuel window. We'll find out what the first cycle of pit stops holds in store for your drivers. Trevor Malone entered today with 65 laps led, has led a bunch more. Still looking for that race victory at Michigan. Forsyth led 48. They sat second and third in the all-time laps led leaderboard. As there's a nervy moment up on the high groove as Cody Wenzen gets a bit of a bobble off of turn 4, blocks the momentum for Luke Daniels. Not sure exactly how that all developed. So 20 laps thrown into the books. So 25 going. Richie Hearn, we mentioned earlier technical issues, did not take the start of the race. Has left the garage. Richie Hearn, no points being scored here today. Love this shot across the line as they go. Do you like to be at the front of the pack? Do you like to be at the middle of the pack? I personally like to be at the front. Doesn't always work out. If you're in the middle, of course, you lose the ability to work your way through clean air. Maybe you avoid the big one if you lock it down in time. Chris Reagan now down low and at the front. On those in front as they work to the line once more. 22 laps will now be complete. This race has never gone caution-free. And I know I'm tempting the racing gods by just mentioning that fact. Averages out at just about 3 cautions per race. Back in Season 3, just a solitary caution that built up to the closest ever championship finish. 2,000ths, splitting Ryan Otis and David Clymer. Of note, it is the second year in a row that David Sirois has grabbed pole position here at Michigan. Currently tucked up 7th. He's the 4th car on the low line. Can he break the trend? Can he be the first to get pole and then grab victory at the end of the 100 laps of action? Three wide again. This time it's for 5th. Gabe Wood has been the most exploratory of those at the front. Continues to run up high. You wonder when he'll tuck down low. Just 4 cars up in that upper groove. Not bump drafting by any means like you would in a stock car, but momentum management. I'm sure there's plenty that can be crossed over for drivers that understand the nuances of the both of the disciplines. Apparently the penalty for changing 4 tires is not so bad. We found that out at Iowa last time by. Reagan tries to commandingly slide his way in front of Malone. That's not going to stick. Doesn't open the door though for the 34 to fight forward. A 2-week gap before drivers go again at Long Beach. Four races, 4 very different type of tracks, from the Hungaroring to Iowa to Michigan, and now to a bumpy street course. Diverse challenges. It's the beauty of motorsports. It's the beauty of iRacing. Today I'm commentating on some Lionheart Retro Series, some Lotus 79, some classic Grand Prix cars. Yesterday I was commentating on a Jumpy Truck World Championship. brings me back to my Simcade days of playing the original Dirt games. Dirt 1, Dirt 2, Dirt 3. Those who know will know. Still 25 cars, split by 2.5 seconds. It's rather crazy when you think about that. We're only 8 laps away from a pit stop cycle. Pit stop execution always crucial, and as you enter pit lane on the exit of turn 4, communication with those around you is going to be vital. One of the benefits of sim racing is that ability to get on the radio, let those around you know, I'm coming to pit road, I'm going down low. The two up front not enjoyed the best of 2022's. Reagan is just outside of the top 10. Has been in his fair share of incidents as well. The one top 5 on the season. Trevor Malone right behind him. And again, just a solitary top 5 to his name as well. Malone, someone that we've seen have speed no matter what car he's in. Lotus 79, Lara DW12, or even that Dallara IR18 that we campaign in the Lionheart IndyCar series. But is this that day that he'll shine brightest? We'll find out. Couple of 3 wide scuffles. Plenty of single file though. Get the sense that for drivers, especially those back in the pack, they know what's on the line as Ricky Harden will put in the fastest lap of the race. It will be a 37.1. We don't really talk about fall off in tires. The cars get faster as the fuel burns off. They really do become rocket ships. But Mike Razmas 24th, second last on the road. Championship leader saying, I want no part of this craziness at the front. "15 years since IndyCar last came here to Brooklyn, Michigan. 500-mile races, 400-mile races. We've hosted a couple of them. Only a few have won multi-times here in the real world, so it's just as difficult virtually in reality as well. Michael Andretti, Scott Goodyear, the two who won the 500-mile race twice. Tony Kanaan has, of course, won a 500 and a 400-mile race. 12 drivers have scored their first and sometimes only IndyCar wins at this very venue. With its 18 degrees of banking through the corners, it is one where it is foot to the floor for the most part and hold on in sheer terror. This time it's Taylor going faster still, 37.064. Almost down into 36-second bracket. Not far away from that. We talk about 18 degrees of banking, and yes, in stock car parlance, it might not be the highest banked speedway that America has to offer. No, you'd of course look at your true super speedways, the Daytonas, the Talladegas, the 30+ degrees of banking. But in an open wheel machine with the G's that these drivers can go under, very much it is a high banked facility. Taylor is still in the mix. We talked about Razmas hanging back. For Taylor, after dropping a couple points back in the last couple of races, electing to gamble and put himself forward. Here comes our first take in a pit lane. Trevor Malone will bite the bullet the earliest of all. Luis Gonzalez Nunez will follow him in. 33 laps complete for drivers as they come to pit road. Some of these drivers trying to put the frustration of a Lionheart Speedway Series race at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway behind them. It was a rather frustrating Monday night for some as Taylor really sent it into turn 3. Had to get out of the power for a moment. Avoid sliding up into the path of Daniels. We've got a wreck off of turn 4. Caution flies. Now 2 drivers will benefit because they came to pit road. 2 will befall their luck. One of the Backfire Motorsports machines and George Anzaldo looping it out of turn 4. A caution flies for the first time today. We discussed the treachery of pit entry. Sometimes commentators do know what they're doing. So watch here. Anzaldo, I think, just gets a little bit caught out by the car in front. And then behind, Valenzuela loses it in a separate, unrelated incident. So let's focus on that Backfire Motorsports number 33. Oh, he gets clipped. He gets the chrome horn from behind. And poor Cristobal Valenzuela, not sure if he miscommunicated his intentions there, but the end result is obvious. It will be Michael O'Brien as well, I would believe. As we go super slow-mo, that's going to be the one doing the contacting. Commentators' English is always spectacular. But yes, that is, to quote my friend Lewis McLeod, suboptimal for Michael O'Brien. The rest of the field will come on in. Nunez will hit the front, so will Malone. It's not going to be a big impact on, of course, strategy either, given the timing of the caution. Pit road execution going to be important for those now on pit lane. Our roving camera rolls to catch the race off of pit road. Taylor in front of the 40 Sim Racing 28 car of Luke Daniels. He beats out his teammate Craig Forsyth, David Sirock, Cody Wenzen behind. Not many shocks in the race off of pit road. But our first caution of the day, you would be forgiven if you had stepped away for a moment for thinking, oh, they were 3-4 wide. Surely they wrecked on track. No, they wrecked on pit road entry. I'm unfortunately regretful to have to say. It does mean, though, that for some, they were saved from having to commit to a pit road entry under green flag conditions. For Michael O'Brien, 9.1 seconds in the box, around the same ballpark as everyone else. So after being the one to run into the rear of Cristobal Valenzuela, for Michael O'Brien, at least he does not have the double whammy of damage to his car. If you're watching, you're just joining us, welcome to Michigan. Welcome to RacePot TV, and welcome to the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200 presented by ButtKicker. My name is Arjuna Kankipati. By myself for the ride today. Bit of a miscommunication. Our wires got crossed with DJ Clark, who is, of course, in Nashville, getting ready for the second running of the Music City Grand Prix this coming weekend. Hopefully, a little bit less chaotic than it was in 2021. We had similar sort of hopes about Michigan in today's Lionheart Retro Series feature appearance. Has been pretty good. Yes, we've had the moments of sheer terror as 3 rows of 3-wide action, but for the most part, drivers have done a good job to work their way through the danger. Lights are off on the pace car. Back to racing, this time at the line. So top 5 will be Malone, Nunez, Taylor, Daniels, and Forsyth. Your pole sitter, David Sirois, drops to 6th. Cody Wenzen behind him. Anzaldo, despite his moment, still comes out in 8th position. Lost it out of turn 4. Had to bail from pit road entry. Still inside of the top 10. Could be worse. O'Brien, Roberts, Harden, the rest of the field inside of the top 10 as they bunch themselves up and get ready to go once more. Trevor Malone, second on the all-times lap-led board at Michigan coming into today. He will lead us to get us back underway as the caution comes to a close. And the Michigan International Speedway, a good jump from Malone. Nunez caught napping, Harden trying to attack to the inside of O'Brien straight away. Not the most coordinated of restarts, it has to be said. They'll build the speed, they'll build the momentum. The intensity will build once more as well. Nunez to the inside, blocks the path of Taylor, goes for the race lead. Nunez struggled in everything in 2021. Slowly working his way to the front in 2022. David Sirwar will come to pit road. Has David Sirwar got a penalty for misjudging the start of this race? For the 6th year in a row, pole position, the unluckiest seat in the house. Still winding up, winding forward. A pack yet to be brought into control. Single file for the top 3, side by side for 4th, and then a train building behind. Gabe Wood has also come to pit road, only 3.3 in the box though, not sure what happened to him. Confusion on the start, that is for sure. Sirwar will drop potentially 2 full laps down. Malone has gone from the front to 6th as Taylor leads from Nunez, Daniels, Forsyth in 4th. For David Sirwar, damage limitation for the rest of this race. Might be using one of those drop weeks. 18 rounds of this championship, drivers are allowed to drop the bottom 2. See if we can figure out what happened on this restart. Why exactly 2 drivers have lost out. They are fighting tooth and nail in set. As we look at the replay, nothing stands out to me. Word from the paddock as well is it was equally bizarre for Gabe Wood. I just wonder if there was a bit of a glitch there. We'll look again and we'll go up above. They check up, but there's no side-by-side action past the line. I'm not sure about that one, that's for sure. 3 wide for the lead they go though. Taylor down low, Wenzen in the middle, Daniels back to the upper groove. Oh, it's a fantastic race we're being treated to here today. Yes, a caution, but not because of the intensity in these battle packs. Inching closer to the halfway stage of the race. For Taylor, this is a potentially must-win race. Has dropped 68 points back in the championship situation. He is also one of those drivers on the bubble of being in a situation where an incident caused by Taylor would lead to a slam dunk 5-race suspension. Has got to be mindful he stays out of trouble. Word is, for Gabe Wood, the penalty was during the caution rather than on the restart. You wonder if the same thing happened. As around, Chris Fowler spins, up and over goes Luis Gonzalez Nunez. Trevor Malone involved as well, a huge wreck on the back straightaway. Sees Trevor Malone, Luis Gonzalez's, Nunez's race chances going up in smoke. Big damage, big junk for some Lotus 79s. As we'll spool up the RaceSpot TV replay. Malone and Nunez in the catch fencing, up and over. Fowler down low. What built up here? It had started so promisingly. Fowler and Malone inches from one another. Malone gets the ramp off of Fowler to go into the path of Nunez, but into the catch fencing. That is a horrifying incident. Couple more looks at it as we slow things down and we try and grab maybe some onboard looks. Reagan will have a good view for a second look. As you just see the seas part for the black, for the white-red chrome machine. Malone saying it was him being pinched on his end. We'll judge for ourselves as we jump on board with Chris Reagan. Slow it down. You can see Fowler running the seam, ducks down low. Malone's a seam down, and I would just from first glance say, agree with Malone. And there's the seas parting for poor Chris Reagan, who needs a change of underpants after that one, that is for sure. We will see some split strategy calls as a result of this incident as well. Had only gone about 8 laps of green flag racing before this caution flew. One final look is for the final time. We'll slow it down. Just see the aftermath here. Yeah, huge one for Malone, for Nunes. 2 drivers looking for some good results. We're looking good as well. Glad we're racing virtually and not in reality today, that is for sure. Back under the watchful eye of Benny, our pace car driver, once more. You can see on that left side those that have made up ground in this race. You can also see those that have pitted. 15th on forward, stay out on track. Razmas, the championship leader. The first car to duck to pit road. Heart goes out to Malone to Nunes, looking very good. For Malone, another race where he would have led laps here at Michigan with not much, unfortunately, to show for it. Clearly has some speed, and when we head to the Auto Club Speedway, which used this facility as its basis, it's its reference point, Trev Malone in that double points finale will be surely one to watch. Not at the halfway point yet, but a big wreck has seen the caution fly for the second time today. We are just about 70 miles west of Detroit. Here at in this Michigan International Speedway, the rolling Irish hills of Michigan. Always puts on some great racing. It's a wide track, high banking, especially for these open wheel machines. And with the repave that this facility had 10 years ago, even with those seams and even with the bumps that we've got, it is by no means a bumpy ride. Attrition, of course, is what's delivered 12 first-time winners in the IndyCar Series. Some of those first-time winners. For Luke Daniels, second in qualifying, still runs up in 4th. He searches for career victory number 1. Matt Taylor, of course, searching for win number 7. Forsyth in second was looking again for his first victory. Wenzen as well in the top 4. Many drivers hungry for race victory number 1. The Luke Daniels fan club has indeed arrived in our Spot TV YouTube chat. The field left in control of Taylor as the pace car off to pit road for the 3rd time today. Working to lap 48, green flag flies again for your Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200. Good jump from Taylor. Forsyth hanging tough. To the outside immediately will go Luke Daniels in the battle for 3rd. Cozy Wenzen, not the best of launches for him. David Rodriguez will watch on as maybe he gets the opportunity to look down low, not just for 1, for 2 spots. He'll split the difference, go to the middle. Speed's building on the restart. Top 15 staying out on this caution. Those behind to pit road for a full tank of fuel, potentially tires as well. Daniels hung out to dry on the outside line. Will lose out in 4th, might lose out in 5th as well. Guyon wraps himself to the inside as Daniels is sent up high, sliding up the track, went to the black and white machine of Cody Wenzen. Car's thinking about committing down low. You can't go down below the apron to get the pass done until the final lap of the race. Your 2021 ButtKicker US 500 one of our Triple Crown races in the Lionheart IndyCar Series, saw Adam Blocker on the final lap of the race steal a victory away from Phil Kraus by ducking below the line. We will keep that in mind as we build to the end of the race. Taylor still painting the low line, leading this field. At the line, half distance will be upon us. Separation between 11th and 12th. A full second splits your lead pack and the peloton chasing behind. Half distance in the books. At Michigan, two distinct packs have developed. Forsyth, Taylor, Daniels, the three involved in the sprawl for the lead right now. The first three cars in your second grouping, Jim Herrick, Adam Frazier, and Mike Rigney. Fighting three wide always looks great. The reality is, it is not always the most efficient way of building around the track. They continue to drop time. Last time almost a tenth of a second dropped in this battle for the lead, or battle to stay in the lead pack if you will. It might require Gabe Wood setting fastest lap after fastest lap to get to the front and get this pack working with one another. Look from up above once more. What a sight it is with these Lotus 79s. These BioSply tires have really changed in the race spot era of this Lionheart Retro Series, dating back to the start of 2021 when we went full race distances on ovals and road courses alike. Now we think about the calls in pit road, we think about the nursing of tires through runs, and we think about who is setting themselves up for the end of this race. We are halfway through this Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200 presented by ButtKicker. Two cautions have seen some cars retire, but we've got two main packs developing as we rumble closer to the checkered flag. You're watching RaceSpot TV and ESTV for coverage of the 2022 Lionheart Retro Series. Don't go anywhere. The race to the checkered flag coming up next in Michigan.
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker, the future is feeling.
Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and the Michigan International Speedway. The tension continues to build here for the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200, presented by ButtKicker. It is electric at the front of the field, where we continue to rumble almost 3 wide for your race lead. Working closer to lap 60 towards the final pit stop cycle of the race, it is Matt Taylor that continues to lead, although Luke Daniels is not giving up without a fight. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, riding solo for today's race in the rolling hills of Michigan, and what a day it's been so far. These two battle packs continuing to spread apart. 1.5 seconds now splits Ricky Harden from Jim Herrick. The Gaggle, 12th on back, will need to start to work together as the wheels of time continue to tick away, as the laps continue to tumble on past. Michigan known, of course, for this high-speed, high-intensity racing. And for the drivers, this is one of those races where the heart rates will be high. And we've already seen, for the likes of Chris Reagan, a very nervy moment as he tried to carve his way forward. And a caution was brought out. Reagan, no damage on his machine. And fighting plenty hard at the front. It is not for a lack of effort that Matt Taylor continues to lead. Daniels, Reagan, Forsyth, Wenzen have all given it a go. 3 wide into the corner again, they'll try. I always talk about the importance of data downloading, understanding what you need to do on the final lap of the race. It's well and good leading 99 laps. If you lead lap 100, that's the only lap you need to lead. Clearly, the outside line is not as effective at getting the pass done, even as the tires begin to wear off. Remember, we had the split call on strategy during the last cycle of cautions. It has meant a number of cars have come down to pit road. A number of cars elected to stay out. We had 15 that gambled and said, we will see something more. I think my call is to stay out. Those that pitted have been unable to work their way forward. You see that on the left side of the screen. 3 wide, 2 rows deep for the lead. The Gaggle behind is closing the gap down below 1.2 now. Jim Herrick, maybe in conjunction with Gabe Wood, starting to get the pack working as they need to do. Let's jump on board with your Gomez Sim Industries onboard look. And in the thick of the pack, down low where it can be rather dangerous, Michael O'Brien will operate as our camera vehicle for today. You can hear the foot to the floor, the engine crying out. As for 100 laps for 200 miles, its driver demands the best from its machine. Always curious to watch the hands, how aggressive with the inputs drivers are willing to be. Usually in motorsports, we talk about smooth, being fast, translates over to the ovals as well. Check back in with Herrick, Wood and company. Now down below a second, the gap forward. Not far away from the draft, not far away from having 21 cars battling for honors at Michigan. We started with 26 in qualifying. Richie Hearn bowed out before the green with technical issues. Trevor Malone, Luis Gonzalez Jr. involved in a huge wreck that also collected Chris Fowler. Fowler able to continue racing, albeit at the dead end of the lead lap and in danger of going a lap down if we continue to race like this. Only 6 seconds in front of your leader, Sirra and Munoz. Sirra with the penalty on the restart. Munoz with some damage to his car. Both not on the leading lap. For Gabe Wood, he also went a lap down with David Sirra. We believe due to a confusion, I should say, during our caution cycle. Wood was able, though, to stay on the lead lap, now rides in 12th. He'll be delighted with how it's played out for him. Is the best of those that pitted last time in the caution cycle as well. I see Mark Cohn in our YouTube chat. Watching on rather than out on track, the winner of 2 of our Triple Crown races for 2021. So far this year, 2 Triple Crown races, 2 different winners. Will we make it 3 and 3 on December 15th? A long way to go, though, to the end of the road. This time at the line, a third of the race distance left to play. We are within the window to make it to the end. A caution from here would see cars duck down to pit road. They've stacked up 2 wide now throughout the top 10. 3 wide again at the front for 2 rows of action. And Zaldo Reagan in the middle, being mindful of those cars on the outside, pinching them down. A mini preview of what we might expect at the Auto Club Speedway. There was Fowler at the front of the field. Now giving the draft to the leading pack and will be swarmed momentarily. He is at full 2 seconds a lap slower than your race leaders. He will go up high. He will stay out of harm's way. Important for those who have been running up on the wall in this lead group to recognize where Fowler is going to go. I think Luke Daniels entered a bit too wide into turn 3. Wenzen thought about sticking his nose to the inside, then thought better of it, recognizing where Chris Fowler was, as the number 20 Madworks Motorsports car will try and tuck in line and use the draft to stay at least somewhat close to the racing speed. Rodriguez Daniels for 5th. They're looking to solidify some position. We had 38 different lead changes back in Season 4. Now, I don't have the number on hand for today. It does feel as though we've had plenty of side-by-side moments. The question will be, do they count as passes for the lead as they come to the line? Because, for example, Reagan down low led despite the fact that Anzaldo was just momentarily just right behind them at the line. Curious to see what that number looks like. I think we're trending, though, towards just the 2 cautions. If we got a third, it would be the field, you'd have to think. 30 laps, 16 miles to go, this time at the line. Still 1 pit stop for the drivers left to navigate their way through. Surely only a few laps away from the start of the pit window. You'll want to stay out as long as possible. You want to throw in as little fuel as you feel comfortable doing. This car is a rocket ship, the lighter it is. For Richie Hearn, for Lionel Kalisto, and for Chris Reagan, they came into this race knowing if they started, it would be career start number 50 in the league. No Kalisto today, so only Hearn and Reagan hit that mark, although for Richie Hearn, of course, missing in action after his technical issues. Onto pit road comes Chris Reagan, 50th career start, nice and tidy onto pit lane. Valenzuela will box with the number 19. Your leaders continue to pound away the laps. It's now Forsyth that's taken over the point. David Suwa, the lapped car, down low. Some think those sitting 6th through 10th on course to win. I wonder what David Rodriguez has got to say. Again, a little bit of drama on pit road entry. I think we managed to survive. Daniels might have sped because he locked up the right front pretty drastically. So did Hugo Gallas. But I think at least for the time being, I'm not seeing anything pop up on the timing screen. They get away with that one. Still wait then for the majority of the field. 14 cars to box. Taylor will drop and roll. Where will he emerge in comparison to that man there, Chris Reagan, in the number 19 Elite West Motorsports machine? as he winds it up, has stayed on the lead lap crucially. He needs to sync with Taylor Rodriguez, use the draft, build the speed, ensure they get going as soon as possible. O'Brien leads from Roberts, Wood, Anzaldo, and Harden. We wait for the next cycle of pit stops, as I presume Anzaldo, who's just had a moment, ran up the track, is coming to pit road. A little less committed than Michael O'Brien. That was full send. He doesn't have the speeding penalty. It's Craig Forsyth getting word that does have a speeding penalty for overcommitment on pit road. Execution on pit road. So difficult, so easy to slip up on. Forsyth finds himself in the danger zone now. Let's check in with him. Let's ride on his onboard. You'll see just too much speed. The cone goes and well and truly above the limiter. And behind him there was that smorgasbord of chaos that erupted. Let's pick up what happened here. As we jump to the wrong side, we miss the bit of action we were looking for. The pit stop cycle continues to rumble on. It's our current race winner after winning at Iowa, Ricky Harden, who slides to pit road nice and tidy in the number 7 machine. And off he goes with just Rigny, for company behind. Razmas will lead. Graf, Lanini, Wood, Gallus will be the final cars to pit road. "24 laps to go." Seen a couple of moments where drivers have pushed the limit and flown too close to the sun. So plenty of time for the volcano of tension to erupt. Tyler Graf's blue and orange, new colors. Running second for the time being. A caution now would really turn this wide open. Some would benefit, some would lose. Mike Razmas has been playing the waiting game, hanging at the back of the field for most of these runs. Your championship leader knows that with a couple of his drop weeks already being accounted for, with missing races, he can't afford to rely on them in the championship hunt. After O'Brien's commitment on pit lane, he's alongside a teammate, Reagan, to his outside as well. This is the grouping of cars that has already run their pit strategy to completion. Harden runs third in line on the low line. Reagan tucked on behind behind Taylor, while Luke Daniels, unfortunately, has dropped 1.3 back, even though he's in that second group behind the net lead. Another impressive showing for a car that struggled just to finish laps and get to the end of races in the first half of 2022. Razmas, Graf, Lanini onto lap 34 of the run. Fuel window coming to a close. At most expect 3 more laps from the 5 cars yet to dance their way down onto pit road at the end of this race. Pack racing at Michigan, following the difficult race that we had at Iowa, where just staying in clean air was difficult. The Hungaroring challenge drivers technically as well as just mentally. The triple header will come to a close here tonight. That is that battle for the net lead, as Gabe Wood, Hugo Gallus, Chris Fowler down to pit road. Razmas, Graf, Lanini stretch 1 lap longer. They'll pit under 20 to go. Gabe Wood, 7.8 seconds stationary, a good time for him. rolls from pit road. Now where's the leading group? Our first indication of which call is the right one. The overcut will see Gabe Wood emerge in front of the leading pack, which now tucks into his draft behind. For Lenini, Graf and Razmas, they know they are a pit stop away from emerging in the lead of this Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200. They've lost some ground this lap, but it's still trending positively for the trio that rolled to pit road this time around. If there was ever a time to execute, this is it. Towards their stalls they'll go. No pit limiter to stop them from speeding. No one counting them down into their box. There are the cars already up to speed and already having pitted. They come to the line as our leaders roll from pit road and get up to speed. It's trending positively as Tyler Graf wins the race off of pit road in front of Razmas, in front of Lenini. There is a full second and a half of separation between third and fourth positions. Tyler Graf and Mike Razmas have waited patiently. They hit the front with 18 laps to go. O'Brien and company have the tires in the window, have the momentum on their side. Drafting behind the 92, can they close? Are they running out of time? For Graphics LC Motorsports, will it be yet another sweep of the podium? 3 wide for fourth is what the trio at the front will be wanting to see. The more you fight, the more you lose. Is there still a surprise left to be played? On board with your ButtKicker onboard camera, riding with Reagan to the outside in the battle for fourth. Once in 5 races has the Lionheart Retro Series landed in Michigan and seen the race end under caution. For Graphics LC Motorsports, the caution might be the sweetest sight in 13 or 14 more laps when we get to the point of no return. 30 miles left to play. Rodriguez looking to try and work forward, defending his race win from 2021. While these guys are fanning out across the banking, for Tyler Graf, for Razmas, for Lenini, as well as David Sirra, who is helping them with giving some draft. It is single file stations for the time being. Last time, they lost half a tenth of a second. This time at the line, will they gain, will they lose? It's another half a tenth lost. The pack of fourth continues to build. But at half a tenth a lap, they are out of time. They would catch Tyler Graf by the end of the race with no time to get the move done. With these sort of speeds, 200 miles has flown by in the blink of an eye. Been racing for just over 60 minutes. I wonder how much sweat these drivers are having to endure to the end of the race. 4th through 9th, technically, excuse me. Still tucked up with one another. And then 2.5 back to Luke Daniels. Let's give a shout out to the 4D Sim Racing Machine, who will see a car use the apron to try and look down low. Second in qualifying, still getting quicker, is that 28 machine. Daniels' time will come. It's a strong rookie class, and for Daniels, showing speed in this back half of the season to rival that of David Rodriguez, who leads your ButtKicker Rookie Championship. The gap now between your leader and fourth, 1.6 seconds. When is go time? When is it too late to commit to a move? Surely that's what's being thought by the likes of Reagan, Taylor, and Gabe Wood. If you're O'Brien, second in the points, and on a run of form that is impressive to watch, I don't think you force the issue. Surely it's wiser to bank the points, to finish inside of the top 5, hopefully, and to work to Long Beach, qualify towards the front, stay out of trouble, and dominate to a second career victory. For Taylor, we mentioned, he's dropped back in the championship now to the tune of 68 points. 28 behind David Sirois in third. The time for waiting is surely in the rear view mirror for the number 8 Madworks Motorsports car. We'll see when he elects to ratchet up the intensity in this championship. Reagan will squeeze the turquoise and purple Madworks Motorsports machine in the middle. As a puff of smoke, Rodrigo Munoz on pit lane. He was already a couple of laps down, so it's no major drama. Within 10 laps to go, though, 9 at the line. The gap has stagnated. The leading trio, the teammates will decide. How hard do they fight to the line? Do they give the sniff of victory to fourth on back? Chris Fowler stays well out of harm's way. Nursing his car around. About 2 seconds lap slower than the field around. Might actually prove as the bridge that the pack behind could use to work forward. Might be exactly what they wanted to see. Wait and see if it works out in their direction. This place likes a close finish. Average finish, average margin of victory, under 0.08 of a second. It hosts the record for the closest ever series finish, 0.02 of a second. With 7 laps to go, 3 stand at the front, but the gap has been chopped down to under a second now as O'Brien has found some speed. Tensions continue to build. On board with your race leader in Tyler Graf. Has raced in his fair share of Retro Series races over the years as Tyler Graf has never finished inside victory lane. Second at Nashville earlier this year, of course. But now as the pack has caught, how is this going to play? Chris Fowler playing the helping game, pointed out by RaceSpot's own Andrew Kinsella, as we've got the huge wreck. 6 laps to go. Rodriguez, Hardin come together to bring out the caution. We aren't at the point of no return. We'll have a shootout to end this race. Buckle in and get ready for drama. Our championship protagonists not involved in the wreck, but now they will know what is about to unfold. Let us go back in time and pick up the drama. We will pick up the content. David Rodriguez, Ricky Hardin. Rodriguez almost got wiped out by the oncoming cars. We look at this. We look at the aftermath, and then we'll get one more look at the actual incident. Rodriguez, no control of the car. All four corners seem to have taken a significant hit. We'll slow it down. We'll look from up above. Not that up above, this up above. Rodriguez got pinched down. Ooh, I'm not sure who's going to be more irritated as we ride with this drone shot from behind. Oh, I won't place any blame for this one, that's for sure. O'Brien has a bit of a checkup, comes down low. It doesn't get any nicer when you see that in slow motion, how close to disaster we truly came. The lights off on the pace car. 3 laps will decide it all. The chips are on the table. It's all to play for. Three cars at the front tried to go long, tried the overcut, got some separation from the field behind. Then, Chris Fowler, winning the award for Teammate of the Day, used his stricken and broken Lotus 79 to allow O'Brien and Taylor to tow up to Graf, Lanini, and Razmas. The trio of teammates at the front that look to control the restart, to control the run to the checkered flag. Single file restarts, next flag ends the race. It is as simple as that. For Tyler Graf, his 30th career Retro Series start. We'll get one more lap, excuse me, under the pace car. Bit of confusion there with the timing screens. But regardless of 2-3 laps to go, it's difficult. In some ways for Graf, 2 laps is worse than 3 laps, but it's also better in some ways. Of course, we've seen on these restarts, the leader able, if he times it well and catches those behind him napping, they are able to get a good launch, but then the speed builds up behind. It's been taking about 2.5-3 laps for it to really be a factor. I think if you're the teammates at the front of the field, you coordinate this restart. You plan when you go, you count each other down, and you see if you break away from the trailing gaggle of cars. If you are, then it becomes every man for himself. And if they don't, it becomes every man for himself either way when the race win is on the line. What is about to unfold in the rolling hills of Michigan? Will it be a first-time winner? Will it be a championship hopeful stamping their authority as we build to the end of 2022, to the end of the Lionheart Retro Series? Pace car will pull off for the final time today. Fielding control of Tyler Graf in the 98 Graphics LC Motorsports machine. He picks up the throttle, gets a good jump, leaves his teammates in the dust. It's 2 laps, 4 miles to determine it all, and Tyler Graf has jumped the field, leading them into turn number 1. 60 seconds left of racing if we go green. They're side by side for second. O'Brien looks to the outside to try and challenge the teammates that dominate at the front to work his way to the point of the field. The restart has stretched them out. Graf leads by 3 car lengths as they build off of 4. Momentum and draft on the side of those behind as white flag flies. 2 miles to settle it all. 6 cars in this leading pack, 6 cars split by almost 1/10 of a second. They go 4 wide through turn number 1. Incredible stuff, and they all leave racing room. Graf painting the yellow line. They wreck behind, a huge wreck as a car flips up and over, but the leaders with clean track to the front of the field. Still 4 wide as they jockey through turn 3 for the very final time. 3 drivers searching for victory number 1, 1 searching for victory number 10. They're almost 7 wide at the line. I think Chris Lanini, by 6 thousandths of a second, will win the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200 presented by ButtKicker. That final lap of the race brought the intensity up to 11. Lanini with career victory number 3. 6 thousandths of a second is the 4th closest finish in series history. There is something about Michigan, there is something about these Lotus 79s. The Graphics LC Motorsports sweep of the podium interrupted by Matt Taylor, but Lanini Graf double delight for Graphics LC as Chris Lanini will burn it down in victory lane. A well-deserved 3rd win of Lanini's career. His previous wins came at Iowa and Homestead, has won across the gamut of different oval types, short track, intermediate, and now a speedway. We need to grab a couple more looks at those final laps of the race before we run you down through your Sim Race 24/7 race results, because what a restart it was. Let's go back to the white flag. Let's watch this entire sequence. 3 wide across the line. I got a bit worried, and then I saw O'Brien make it 4. Behind, you saw Taylor, Reagan trying to find the right line to jockey 4. Behind, the huge wreck developed that saw Wenzen go up and over. A disappointing day for him, but some good potential shown, that is for sure. Now the question is, do we have cameras that are wide enough to show this finish? Taylor went below the line as soon as possible, as soon as the banking elected him to. O'Brien slammed into the wall, and they were 5-6 wide at the line. Gabe Wood tried the last ditch move, didn't work out. What a finish. Slow this down even more and zoom on in on the finish of the Gomez Sim Industries Michigan 200 presented by ButtKicker. Lanini storms forward at the line to take the win by 6 thousandths of a second. Yet another memorable race at Michigan for the Lionheart Retro Series. Chaos on the final lap, a restart with 2 to go. What else did we expect? Here are your Sim Race 24/7 race results, as a double podium for Graphics LC Motorsports sees Chris Lanini take victory number 3 of the career, victory number 2 of the season. Matt Taylor will get the points on the board after finishing in 2nd, while some of his other championship rivals falter very slightly. Tyler Graf gets another podium for 2022, but after leading the field to the restart with 2 to go, I'm sure there will be some frustration. You've got to put that aside, take the positives where they lie. Chris Reagan, inside of the top 4, ran at the front for most of the race. Gabe Wood, plus 10 positions, also had a black and orange flag to serve for driving standards. Questionable black and orange flag, we should be clear. Able to recover to 5th. Daniels, Rasmus, Fraser, O'Brien, Guyon, the top 10, with O'Brien's incident coming to the line, dropping him just to the tail edge of the top 10. Adam Fraser, plus 16 positions, our hard charger of the race. What a drive from him. Behind them, outside of the top 10, Jim Herrick, Mike Rigney, George Anzaldo, and Danny Roberts, the top 14, while our pole position sitter struggles yet again, David Siwar, in 15th position for the Raven Lavoie Motorsports team. Cristobal Valenzuela in front of his teammate Hugo Gallas, while the final car on the lead lap will be Ricky Hardin, our winner a week ago, 18th on the road today. Cody Wenton, 1 lap down after wrecking, coming to the white flag. Craig Forsyth completes the top 20 after good showing in his 40 sim racing machine. Fowler, Munoz, Rodriguez, Malone, Nunes, and Hearn. The 26 cars that gridded up. Of course, we did not see Richie Hearn take to the green flag with his technical issues. another blockbuster event for the Lionheart Retro Series, and another time to dive into some post-race coverage and our post-race interviews. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperx.com. We are waiting for the broadcast booth to be graced by the presence of the gladiators that put it all on the line for us to close out that race. Many fighting for a championship, many knowing what was on the line. The gamble to stay out and try the overcut for Chris Lanini, Tyler Groff, and Mike Razmas at one point looks like it was going to pay off. The caution changed the game, but Chris Lanini storms his way to a third career victory. We're now down in HyperX victory lane, joined by the driver of the 92. And Chris, what a finish that was. Almost 6 wide at the line.
Yeah, that was the closest finish I've ever been involved in, by a pretty good margin, too. I didn't know if I'd have the speed for it, too, because I accidentally changed my tires on the first stop back on, like, lap 30. So, yeah, that was just... I'm impressed with everybody for holding it together as well as we did. That was incredible.
How nervy are these sort of races, Chris? I mean, throughout the course, whether it was the first run before the cautions or that later run that saw your goal to stay out a little bit longer. How scary was this race in terms of running in the pack and seeing the sketchiness around you?
Really, with the strategy that we were running, it was actually kind of boring in the beginning because we were mostly just saving fuel. Once we got past that last pit stop, though, and noticed we did have a notable lead on the pack, the nerves start to creep in. And I'll be honest, I've been doing this since 2001. I've been doing this for 21 years, and even now, on the final laps, I still start shaking a little bit. So the nerves definitely build as you get closer to the finish, because you know it's just going to be a dogfight to try and win.
So 2 victories this season after the sweep of the podium at Homestead. Now a double podium for here today. I will ask you about the strategy call. Was that always the thinking, starting this race before a caution has flown? Were you always thinking that the overcut was the play to make?
Pretty much, yes. It was what we had planned on. We were going to see how the flow of the race went as well, if there were a lot of cautions, or it really depends. It seems like a greener race works well for that strategy, but that was always our thought. We always worked together through the race for that, which I'd like to thank my teammates. We did a great job today. We had the field covered almost to the end.
I think that's a bit of an understatement, but the finish at the end still delivered results and excitement for the viewers as well. It's a win-win. Congratulations, Chris, on this victory. We'll see you in a couple of weeks from the streets of Long Beach.
Absolutely. I'd like to really quickly thank my sponsor, SimCraft, for all that they've done for me, and Lionheart for putting on such a great league, and HyperX for their sponsorship as well. Thank you.
Chris Lanini in HyperX victory lane for the 3rd time in his Retro Series career. For Matt Taylor, it was a race where I thought he had to get the points on the board, and get the points on the board he did. Matt, coming into this race, 68 points in the championship, winding our way to the end of the season. Did you feel any pressure to get points on the board? Did that influence the way that you approached this race?
Actually, it was the opposite. The gap is kind of really big, and after a horrible race last week, I was kind of in just, let's go out there and run hard and, kind of throw strategy out the window a little bit and just see what happens. Rasmus has had such a good season. O'Brien's had a really good season. Was going to need something different to kind of happen, and again, I think we got the strategy wrong, and a lucky caution there. We all kind of avoided that, and I guess just picked the right lane and was able to time the move at the end to almost steal that one.
You've seen your fair share of wild finishes. How crazy were those last 2 laps?
It was interesting because everybody kind of slid up to the high side to take advantage of the massive side draft you get, and so they kind of vacated the bottom, and there really isn't anywhere to take a huge run where you get it anyway, and so I was able to tuck up in behind Tyler and time the run just right to be able to sneak down to his inside, because I felt like that was the only place to go, and that might even be the safest place.
So, you said that you didn't feel that much pressure coming into this one because of the way the points gap had grown. Today, with this result getting some points back towards those other championship leaders, how
How are you feeling about the championship this year? So many strong drivers. I think that's what makes it so interesting, is it's not just 1, 2, or 3 that's at the front. It's really been 5 or 6 contenders through the course of this calendar year.
Yeah, this tire has certainly thrown a wrench into things. And last season, when I was so strong on the ovals, it's really felt like the complete opposite. Sort of lost out there week to week on these ovals, and it's really about figuring tire strategy and that, because actually making on-track passes at a lot of these tracks is really, really difficult. You can't take advantage of clean air or those kinds of things like you could in the past. So for me, it's been way harder, and I just have thrown away potentially decent finishes. Whereas the road courses have been good. So, from here on out, it's just going to be about trying to, I think, stay really aggressive and see where we end up going into Auto Club.
So a long way to go till the middle of December before we go to Fontana again. Congratulations on the run, Matt. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for some street course racing.
Thank you.
Matt Taylor from the second step of the podium. Good day for him. Both of our top 2 working up 8 positions. 5 spots gained, though, for Tyler Graf, who led at the start of the final restart. Unfortunately, just did not work out in your favor. Surely when the caution flew, Tyler, you were pretty frustrated, thinking that you and the team had done what you needed to on strategy, had worked your way to the front.
Yeah, the scene in Driven where Bo Brandenburg breaks up with Estella Warren? That's kind of how I feel right now. Caution would have flown a lap later. I think it would have been a 1-2-3 for the team. And yeah, the restart, I thought I did it well. I wanted to put myself in a spot to where the leading car catching me in the draft was a teammate, so I could pull up and I knew they wouldn't run me over. And that worked. And they just, coming through 3 and 4, I thought I had it, and then Taylor backed off just a little bit and got a good run and got it to the apron before I could. And if I would have chose to block, I would have wrecked the entire front half of the pack. And I'd rather finish third than junk everybody. So I'm personally bummed out, but it's still a great result for the team. We've got something to figure out on these big ovals as a team, and I think anytime we go somewhere where it's a bit of a lottery, we can buy some tickets that have our numbers on them.
I like that line. And coming from someone who has been involved in their fair share of wrecks, not just in this series, but across the series in 2022, is glad to hear that perspective coming from you. As we look forward, though, we've seen many tracks that are new to the series. We're going now to a couple of new ones, but plenty of familiar ones. Coming back to the series full-time, how do you feel about the run to the end of the year?
I'm definitely confident that I can be within that top 8 group. The guys at the front of this series are the guys in this car. If you look from 15th back, there's a pretty big performance gap at all the tracks, so I think that top 15 is going to be really, really close. I think at the road courses, it's between like the top 4 or 5 guys. I still got a lot of work to do on the road courses in this car, just because it's so different to what I'm used to. But I think if I can hang in there in the top 10 on the road courses and have more runs like this on the ovals, I can definitely put myself in such positions to win. I just got to get that monkey off my back. It's coming. It's coming. It's tonight wasn't the night, and if tonight wasn't the night, I'm glad a teammate got it. So good night overall.
I know it's frustrating, but we saw this with Michael a couple of weeks ago, right? You wait so long, that first victory, it just means even more when you get it. Congratulations on the podium, Tyler. Great run tonight, great run from the team. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at Long Beach.
Great, thank you. Have a good one.
Tyler Graf wraps up our post-race interviews. Always good to get that insight from the drivers and hear the mindset, especially from Tyler, who, like I said, has been involved in his fair share of incidents, not just here, but across of our 3 competitions that the Lionheart sanctioning body puts on, involved in some drama in the Lionheart IndyCar Series just last week at Iowa, just like we were at Iowa last week for the Retro Series as well. What a race it was, guys. I mean, 6 wide at the line, a margin of victory
of 6,000ths of a second, half a tenth, splitting 5 cars. Races don't get much closer than this. There is something about Michigan that seems to always deliver the action. Wish I could have had DJ Clark alongside to talk you through all of it. He will be back in a couple of weeks' time, though, when we head to the streets of Long Beach. This new tire has really changed around the complexion of how drivers think about the tires, how they think about strategy, how they think about pushing the car. What will they do on the streets of Long Beach, the bumpy streets of Long Beach, as we get set to go racing for round 12 of 18 in your 2022 Lionheart Retro Series. Same time, same place, live on RaceSpot TV on a Thursday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. It is going to be fun. How easy is it going to be to pass? That is the question that many of us want the answers for. Still a long way to go as we look at the Next Level Racing schedule as well for the drivers. To Long Beach for one more race in August, 2 races in September take us all the way to the east. We go to the land of the rising sun and to Motegi for a doubleheader of road and oval action. Then a 3-week wait before heading north of the border to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve to the city of Montreal. That will greet us for our final street course of the season. Then short course racing a week later in the shadow of the Gateway Arch before all roads lead to America's National Park of Speed and build to Fontana, the double point final Triple Crown of 2022 showdown that will end 2022 and Lionheart Retro Series competition. That is going to wrap up our post-race coverage. What a day it was, what a race it was. Yes, we had those 4 cautions that made it a bit of a stop-and-start race, but by no means was it an easy race for anyone throughout the field of contenders. Before we say goodbye, we thank those that make this possible, starting with a title sponsor of the Lionheart Retro Series, Next Level Racing, an industry-leading cockpit and motion simulator manufacturer devoted to creating the most immersive experience possible for the global sim racing community. Take your racing to the next level and visit nextlevelracing.com. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperx.com. You're passionate about sim racing, but it always feels a little flat compared to the feeling of driving a real car. Now you can actually feel what it's like to drive a race car. ButtKicker haptic hardware and software are easy to install and let you feel every bump in the track, slip of your tire, and engine redline. The tactile feedback is so accurate and realistic, you'll be driving faster and having more fun than ever before. Moser Racing is revolutionizing sim racing with the development of industry-leading hardware and software products like the R9 direct drive wheelbase and GS steering wheel. Featuring zero delay wireless technology and made from high-end materials, Moser Racing delivers the precision you need to reach victory lane. And Gomez Sim Industries, the makers of high-end esports equipment and controls. Precision built using nothing but the best materials available today. Passion and handmade craftsmanship drive each made-to-order build, creating a driving experience like no other. Visit GomezSimIndustries.com. And it's not just them, but so many more that make this possible. To learn about the Lionheart Racing Series, its 3 competitions, and its partners, head over to LionheartRacingSeries.com for more information where you can stay up to date with the latest comings and goings inside of the virtual paddock. And what a day it was here today, as in Michigan, in the rolling Irish hills, a blockbuster finish was had once more. There is something about the Michigan International Speedway that delivers excitement, that delivers blockbuster finishes, and today was no different. Lionheart Retro Series action continues in 2 weeks as we head to the streets of Long Beach on August the 18th for round 12 on this 18-round championship. DJ Clark will be back alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati, as we roll our way through what is bound to be the most treacherous run and race of the season. On behalf of the team at RaceSpot TV and on behalf of the team at Lionheart, we thank you for your company on this Thursday evening, where from Michigan, Chris Lanini is a winner for the 3rd time in his Retro Series career. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time. But for now, so long and goodbye. Congratulations, Chris Lanini, celebrating in HyperX Victory Lane.